Good morning, or good afternoon, wherever you may be, or good evening, or good night. This is Jen at JensArtyInclinations, a place to create, share, and play.
Hello everyone. So today I'm inspired by gorgeous Cara Renee over at B.Reborn Art and Healing. She made these fabulous flip out tags and she had inspiration as well, which she's got linked on her video. So to start off, all you do is you divide your page into 3, which as you can see, I'm struggling with here. Because printer paper isn't exact thirds, I always have a bit of a wonky way of doing it, but of course you could measure so that you get exact thirds. You could trim off the edge to make it easier to divide into 3. Yeah, lots of different things that you could do. So as you can see, I put that into thirds and then I trimmed off the edge bit that wasn't quite a third. Anyway, once you've put it into thirds, all you do is fold it in half. And then that's what creates your basic structure. And there are just 2 cuts that you do and you're done. So I'm just inking the edges so that I can see where I'm going to be cutting. So I'm just inking those 2 bottom edges there and trimming down just those 2 bottom pieces. Now here, I'm just thickening it up. So I'm just making that a little bit wider, and that's so that when it folds, it will fold nice and freely. It won't actually catch. So there you are. That's all you're cutting, is just those 2 bottom folds. And that is what creates your little flip structure. Now, turning it into a tag. And this is what I love about this one, is that it's got that tag shape. Sometimes we overdo tags, but this is so fun. You just think it's a tag, and then you open it up and you've got all this journaling space. And that's what I really love about it. Now, obviously, you can do all sorts of things on the inside, but I quite like it as just journaling spots. That's how it folds together. So then when you open it up, the front will flip up. There we go. Front flips up. Open it up. The next one flips up. Open it up again, and the back flips up. Now, you can have the back on the inside or the outside. It's up to you. But all that beautiful journaling space. Okay, so I liked the way that Cara Renee did it. She just popped a cover on each of them, and that's what I'm doing. So gluing around the edges, and then I've just got a bit of scrapbook paper that I'm loving at the moment and using that for the front cover. And then the decoration is a belly band. Essentially, that's all the decoration that you need on this. So gluing it down and then cutting around the edges to cut it down to size. I do find that is the easiest way to glue, pieces to a piece of paper, is gluing it and then cutting the excess. Otherwise, sometimes it's hard to glue it on the exact moment. So then I've actually inked around the edges of all of mine so that then they're all like little individual Watsits. And oops, I didn't mean to do a little thumb hole through both. With this first one, I played with little thumb holes, and I actually put little thumb holes on the pieces that we open because I thought that would be fun. And then one in the side, because I decided on the back, I'd do that one on the inside. And then that way it just indicates where you're flipping it up. But I didn't mind that I did a little mistake, because then I got to add a little oopsie at the bottom, and it made it really cute. It had a little bit of a decoration on that particular page. So then, those little thumb holes definitely make it easier to see what you're doing and opening them up. So there you go. That's the main structure of number 1. As the belly bands, I decided that I'd use a music sheet. I love using music paper. And I'm just kind of decorating that a little bit. So I'm popping some lace across the bottom. And then a little bit of decoration just at the top of the tags, I thought. That just seemed to help finish it off. And then I'm using the actual tag to measure the belly band. There are lots of ways you can do this. You can put it around, put a bit of sticky tape, like washi tape on it that's going to come off easily, then slide it off and then glue that. I just kind of went by eye and feel, and, it worked out. So I worked out when I was trying to put it on, the lace was actually catching a little bit. So this one I added some washi tape after. I put glue around it just to make sure that the washi tape sticks. Then I put some washi tape around it. Very awkward to do it this way. So the next one, I did it before I stuck it down into a circle. But that worked really, really well. And then it slides on beautifully. So voila. Now I'm sliding on the bottom here. It's actually easier if you slide it over the top because you've got the narrow end to feed it through. But once I pop that on, you'll see that it slides on very, very easily. And I worked out I just needed a bit of a more defined fold and voila, see? And that's what holds it all together. Isn't that cool? Little label on the front and she's finished. So there's number one. So look, we'll go through 3 more and you'll just see the little process again, and that often helps it stick, doesn't it, when we see it a few more times? Or rewind and make me go slow. You know, you can take the voice off then, don't have to listen to me. Anyway, I used the first one as my prototype to help me fold it in thirds, and that made it a lot easier. And then I have a slightly different method on cutting, where you need to cut on these next ones. I decided that I would use a knife, and you could do the same thing with scissors, but it just makes it a little bit easier to get that teensy bit of extra wriggle room that you're trying to get on those bottom 2 folds. But anyway, remember, folding your paper in thirds and then folding the whole thing in half. And that's all you're doing for each of them. And when you're cutting your tag, you're cutting it at that folded edge. So you're cutting your corner pieces on the folded edge. So, I mean, you could do it upside down, but it's just then your pieces will flip down rather than up. So, last one, I did 3 more, and I just thought I'd do them all together because I was doing them for a swap. So then, you know, bit of a mass make, but these would mass make quite easily, really. So there you are, cutting the corners, and as I say, that's on the folded edge. Easy peasy. So now I'm using the exact same little triangle I cut off to cut all the extras. And I always have a little guide to cut my triangles for my tags, and I always lose it. I've got too many tools on my desk, that's why. And when I say tools, it's things like cardboard tubes for stamping and all sorts of different weird stuff. So yeah, that's fun. So there we are. Once you fold it out, remember you're only going to cut those bottom 2 pieces. So it's a little bit easier to see once you've cut that tag. See how I folded that in half? And I just trimmed ever so slightly off the edge. Watch it again. I'm folding just that bottom piece in half. So folding the other bit away so I don't catch it. And just folding along the fold. And see, it's really, really thin. But that's lovely. Gives it nice wriggle room. Nice and even on both sides. You know, no risk of tearing it. No risk of going over the fold. Yeah, just a really nice, easy way to do it. Then obviously popping the cover on again. Now, the best thing I like about these, they're nice and thin, so easily go into a pocket. Once you start adding embellishments to them, obviously they'll thicken up. But if you don't want it to be just plain journaling space, you can stamp on the inside. So do some little stamping on the edges, do some little stamped borders, things like that. Everything you add like a sticker or a pocket will obviously increase the thickness. And everything you add to your belly band will increase the thickness. So obviously I'm completely ignoring my rule and making my belly bands nice and embellished. But yeah, still really nice and easy to slip into pockets, which is great. So this one I did a nice big piece of lace that it went inside. And my next one I had this nice big piece of ribbon that, you know, it's obviously fabric, but some ribbon that I used to put that on the inside. And the last one I did a lace edge again. And before I stuck it down, I put the washi over that rough edge. So the other 2 I don't have to worry about because the material goes through the whole piece. but this last one I do. And again, just using the tag itself to measure each of them. So this, I can see that there's quite a bit to trim off on both sides. So just a little bit of trimming on one side. And I like these little offcuts. I find that easier too when you're doing your belly bands. Oh, and I did it over a piece of cardboard because it was on lace, and, you know, I knew that the glue would probably seep through the lace. So I didn't want it to, you know, stick it to itself or anything like that. So that's why I used the cardboard in between. There we are, a couple of labels, and that one's almost done. I just put another little one on that circle because I just felt like it needed something extra. So there you are, number 2. What was I explaining to you? Goodness knows. Well, it was probably useless. So it's okay. Here we are, just trimming off those little sides again so that we get our little flippy flaps. And I'm having trouble putting that one all together. But there we are. And again, I'll ink all around the edges. I decided I'd ink the front page on that one before I stuck the cover on, just so that I definitely didn't get any of that white core showing through. Just sort of makes it, to me, makes it all kind of blend in to itself when we ink around the edges. This last one, it had a lovely fold in one of the pages, so I highlighted that. That was why you saw me inking on the top of the page rather than around the edge of the pages. And of course you can cut around, but you can also use your Stanley knife and cut around that way as well. And this one, I don't know, as it was folding, it just felt like it was a little bit more fragile. So I thought, what a good excuse to add some little washi tape to those folds. But you could do that on all of them. Again, that's really nice and thin, so doesn't interfere with the structure. But these are great in pockets, but of course they'd be really cute on their own as little happy mails or little gifts, you know. They could even be cards. So there you are. Little butterfly this time, and a little label on top of one of the lace offcuts. And that is all 3. Oh yeah, except for the last one. And then you got all 4. So I just stuck a butterfly onto a flower, and then I stuck a label onto a flower. These are just some of those flowers you get in packets. I actually inked around the edges of the flowers, and that seemed to make that one work quite well. So there they are, all 4. And I'll just show you how each of them fold out. You could decorate the backs as well, but I've just left the backs quite plain, and I think they still look nice. So see, each of them flip up. So you've got, 6 journaling spaces plus the back of each of them. So you've essentially got 12. Oh dear, I'm the one that teaches maths to my kids too, and or my youngest. So then this was the one that I had the little hole punches, and I do quite like that. I just got a bit tired of doing the hole punches in the end, and see, much easier to slip your belly bands over the top. They come off they go on, I should say, super easy when you slip them over the top. So yeah, I'll make sure I pop in Cara Renee's video in the description below so that you can go and see. Hers was probably a lot more logical and easier to follow. But yeah, that's what inspired me, and I've followed her formula pretty closely. So go and check her out, and everyone take care. See you next time. I'd love it if you could leave me a comment below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed what you saw today. And of course, please subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you next time. And in the meantime, keep creating. Enjoy!